are back.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Santa. Santa's back too.
Yep. It's coming to town.
All right, we're gonna start hot today. You ready?
Go for it.
Yes, Christmas music or no Christmas music?
Do I like Christmas music?
Yeah.
I fucking love Christmas music. In one time of the year, which is exactly Christmas, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, I listen to it a lot, like nonstop.
Yeah. I think there's definitely such thing as too much Christmas music. And I like Christmas music like 6 out of 10. Like I enjoy it if it's on during Christmas time. It's great. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I like non-traditional Christmas music, which is like, let's say, like one thing I listen to a lot around the holidays is Gary Hoey, who does like guitar riff remixes of Christmas songs. Like his Carol of the Bells is kind of famous and stuff. So I do stuff like that. But yeah, like the really famous stuff, like the Mariah Carey stuff, is like, not really. Like that's not kind of my thing. More just like the instrumental based Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
So like Trans-Siberian Orchestra is something I tend to listen to around Christmas time. But yeah, it's kind of all in the same pot for me.
Yeah, I think for me, Christmas music, I have kind of I do some modern stuff. I do some classic stuff. One of the main reasons why I love Christmas music is a lot of it is the only kind of music I can sing to, and it doesn't sound like garbage. Because a
Are
lot.
you a singer? Do you sing to music?
I love to sing to music.
Oh my god,
I love to sing to music, and my whole family actually sings to music. Like when we're in the car, we will all sing Christmas carols. We'll sing like lots of songs actually, but
I'm
lot
just picturing Derek driving his SUV.
a lot of modern songs in general just use an octave that I can't sing in very easily.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy
auto-tune.
Yeah.
It's the auto-tune octave.
I don't do it very well. And so I can't. I try, but anyway, I participate or I just go down to a really low octave. But I appreciate Christmas music because a lot of it is in that, old crooner octave. I'm a driving crooner. I started watching that show again. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, I need fish. I didn't realize there was so much of it. But before we get too much further, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. As always, I am Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
I'm Parker. I go by One Who Parks on Discord.
And as usual, links in the show notes. We're going to do kind of an informal episode today where we kind of just do a little bit off-the-cuff stuff. It's just me and Parker today, and we're recording, yes, on Christmas. And so this is just what we have this week.
We do have some Marvel stuff, though. We've been spending a lot of time playing, at least I've been playing a ton of time spending Marvel Rivals, and then I've also been playing with you.
I played a little bit yesterday, and I played a little bit today with you.
Yeah, that game is hella fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a weird... I don't know if they've perfectly mastered the mixing of the melee combat and the shooting combat into the same system. Mm-hmm. They're surprisingly close, I will say. But it definitely feels like the melee characters are just really strong.
Yeah, now
maybe there's just less skill required, so they feel overpowering in a new player pool.
Right, that's exactly what I think you got the nail on the head. When you go to like the ranked levels, like the highest level of ranked, a lot of melee characters are considered weaker because at the lower rank, when another character just runs at you and they're just in your face, in your screen, people don't know what to do. But as you get better at the game and you get more cool, you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this, and then you're just canceled, right?
Well, also, I imagine there's a lot better team coordination. So, like, someone dives and just 4 people point their guns at him and he falls down. And you're like, oh, yeah, that was never going to work.
It's really almost all of the melee characters, and this makes sense, they're really susceptible to CC, right? It's like crowd control.
Yeah.
And so the crowd control effects become a lot stronger.
I don't know. I feel like if you did, like, let's say, for example, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Venom, Thor, and Wolverine, and you just blitzed people, I think you just run them over. I think it'd be way too much, way too fast. And you just stay in a tight group and run around. I think you just take them apart. And once you've got their team broken up and they're respawning at different times, you just go solo hunting on, like, a frenzy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is amazing. I've only played Iron Fist a couple times, but it's amazing, and at least at the level we're playing, that if I just run at the healers, they don't know what to do.
Well, not they have no way to kill you. Like they don't do enough damage over a short enough period of time before you kill them. So they can't engage with you. Their only option is to try and flee, and they just frantically try and run away from you, which means now you're taking no damage and you're just killing them. Because all the melee characters have gap closes, so they can't actually get away from you. And what they should probably do is just stand still and unload their entire clip into you, and that way the next person can kill you, but they don't, like you were saying.
Yeah, I have my favorite games so far have been playing Iron Man when I have a Hulk on my team, because he gets the team up bonus and he just hits like a truck. I've really had fun doing that. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like the game, is even though that's true, right? Like that seems overpowered. There are lots of characters that can just kill Iron Man, right? So it's not like Iron Man is broken just because he can fly, but it feels great if you leverage the flying correctly and that like maneuverability. The way that it's not just the flat contours of the map, but it's also like the sides of the map and the corners up high. Is like,
yeah, you get way up above everybody and you just get behind their cover and you just shoot them, and by the time they realize where you are, it's already half dead, so you're going to win the trade. The only downside being that you're way too away for your team to support you, so if multiple people engage on you, you're just going to die.
Yes.
But there's surprisingly a lot of cover up high. There's a lot of pillars that go to the sky, and you're like, oh, so he just hides behind that.
Right.
It's really frustrating. I think Iron Man is not a good character, but I think he's broken with the community that you tend to play in. If you're playing at high levels, I don't think Iron Man's that good.
Yeah.
But if you're playing at low ranks where people don't understand, like, oh, they're having a duel with somebody, and they just have no idea they're being shot by Iron Man. So it's like free kills.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually interesting. At the highest level, he's considered strong, but when you play with the highest level, guess what he does? He plays just like 7 feet off the ground with your team. He just plays like a gunline character, but he's not on the ground. He's just slightly up. And again, he uses like contours of buildings and stuff that aren't available on the ground. So it's still like a different way to play, but you're now playing, like you said, you're not leaving and just being a flying flanker, which is probably just a bad idea.
Yeah, once you have people have good enough aim that they can just snipe you down. Like, he is squishy. He's just hard to hit him when he's that tiny and way up in the air.
Yeah.
Because while you're shooting him, you're just in the open. It's hard to coordinate staying in cover against enemies. Like Iron Fist is in your face and like the Iron Man is shooting you. You're like, how are you supposed to deal with this? It's like, you just die so fast. So you were playing some Rocket today. How often do you shoot your gun as Rocket? Is it just you're just doing the support stuff and the gun is bonus?
Almost never. Like, it's really it's almost like the backup pistol is what it feels like. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody could tell me, or I could watch like a more professional Rocket player. Yeah. They're constantly, maybe because it uses the same magazine. As far as I can tell,
No, they're separate magazines.
Are they? Okay.
Just like Jeff. Jeff has 2 different magazines, but if either run out, you have to reload.
Okay.
And so it feels like it's the same magazine.
Oh, that's what it is. I see. Pardon me. So yeah, I'm sure there's somebody who's gotten really good at weaving and counting and feeling like, but also his orb healing is odd. Like, it's a little bizarre.
It is,
because
the bouncing is crazy. If you get somebody in a hallway and you can just ricochet it like point blank, and it's just ping ponging back and forth down the hallway. Right. It's like they get healed effectively infinitely.
Yeah. Also, the bizarre way that it slows down whenever it like gets close to somebody means that there are lots of characters that like can run with it and just like keep getting healed by it. And so if you're moving, it behaves differently than if people are like defending, for example. It is.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet there'd be a lot of like doorways where you could like spider crawl up into the corner of the doorway above like line of sight, and you could just continually heal people in that hallway shooting out of it, and if anybody runs in, you're just shooting them in the back. And so you're just like free unload into them. Like, it'd probably be really hard to deal with, and you're just with impunity dropping your buffs and stuff.
Yeah.
The revive chamber is really good.
Yeah, the revive chamber is really good. I think
it's really underrated. Yeah, getting that thing into a good spot is really powerful.
I need to get better at it because I find that I look down and go, "Oh shit, it's off cooldown." Like, I don't know how long it was.
It stays, I think, permanently until they kill it,
or it's used. It pops if you use it.
I don't think so. I respawned at the same one of yours multiple times, and it was like back. It was the symbiote map, I want to say. So we take the symbiote and start pushing it, and you had left it back behind like a wall. I respawned there like 3 times. So unless you ran backwards to put it down again, I think it lasts for a while.
Wow. So I just decided to look it up.
Strong.
Rockets revive, like timer or respawn, whatever it is. That input. There's so many things on the internet like that are like called rocket, fuck? Like rocket that. Yeah, I'm not.
If you go to the player stat page, I'm sure it would tell you, but obviously we don't have the game open right now.
Yeah.
Man, I'm certain it works more than once. There's no way it doesn't.
Okay, here it says can be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say how many times. I guess I'll have to just stare at it.
Does it say it's once, or does it just not?
It just
say
says
how
it says
long?
the revive is the only thing it says here. Is
I don't think it's a.
You get the revive, which means I think you only get 1 revive. I think.
Man, it's really odd that you would have put multiples in the same spot like that.
Okay.
When we were like well ahead of that area. Unless you had just happened to also die and then ran by and just put it there again, but I had like total random chance.
Mm-hmm. I was trying. I'm trying to get better at it. Rocket is fun, but as a healer, he's fun with specifically the team up with Punisher and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. I don't think I like Adam Warlock a lot more because Adam Warlock I feel like I'm actually contributing
he's
to damage.
Much better support character.
Yeah,
like Rocket is a borderline support. I think if you're not doing damage with Rocket, you're just kind of wasting the point of him.
I think that's the problem with me. Yeah, because he doesn't do bad damage, but I don't think I'm shooting enough. I'm concentrating on getting the orbs out and not fucking up the orbs, and so I probably it's not that I don't I just need to play him a little bit more. Try to use the effects, more of the effects, but man, the game is taking up a lot of my time, and I'm really enjoying it. Moon Knight is by far my favorite character. I'm starting to get to the point at which I might even start to play rank play on Moon Knight and not be like scared. I'm really appreciating it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little distracted while we're talking about this because I'm trying to get
we're trying to get doing a Mojo verse day where we're both trying to pick stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get I want to get character names right.
Yeah, that's the problem,
and I'm not good at it.
The weird part of this is I guess I'll spoil it. It's fine. So our category is anime fights. And so clearly, like, shonens are going to have, in general, the best fights. And so you end up picking from animes that aren't the best animes, but they have the best fights. I put zero prep into this as well, and I think I'm going to leave a lot of really good ones on the table I'm just not thinking about right now. Okay, cool. Whoever made this list is a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I started looking at some lists for a while, and like, no, this is dumb.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot that one.
So,
this is a great moment in anime. It's definitely not the best fight.
That
one makes sense.
There is one fight that instantly just jumped to the forefront of my mind. Because I remember it was the very... We're going to talk about it later. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about it.
I will tell you why it jumped immediately when you're like, best fight ever. And I went, oh, well, this one.
I'm surprised. I'll be surprised if you don't pick the one I just looked at. Because I know you love it.
Ooh, okay. I'm also having a hard time. I'm in general thinking of, like, anime that I've watched and loved. Surely there's, like, a fight that could make... Because I've watched most of mine are actions, all right? Like,
well, I mean, so if you like if you choose like the end of Naruto Shippuden, it's like 2 seasons. Like which fight are you referring to?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like some of them are just like wars where it doesn't really count. And then some of these, like, I looked up a couple lists that people have made. I'm like, that's not a fight. That's a moment. Like it's not even long enough to be considered a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's why it's good. Man, there's a lot of good ones on this list, but they're not even comparable to like the actual best fights.
Interesting. I just thought about this. You know what? I'm going to say no.
You're just not going to do it?
No, Blue-Eyed Samurai is not anime. I don't think it is. It wasn't produced in Japan. It uses a lot of anime like ideas, and it's set in Japan, but it is not anime. So I'm gonna.
I don't think anybody's going to argue against it being anime. I mean,
I'm gonna go.
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and be a hardliner about it and say no, even though somebody could, like you said, somebody could argue really hard that it is. But I'm gonna say no. Let me think of some other. Oh.
So I think there's one we might actually fight over. And I've got two that there's no way you're going to name. And another one you might, but I don't think you will.
Oh, this makes me so mad. I can't think of. I'm trying to think of the name. Oh. Got it. I found it. Yeah. These are some amazing fights. Oh, I had one on the tip of my brain while I was looking at this one. Come on. What was it? It was just like a super anime I love. Oh, I lost it. This is going to make me so mad. Also, how about them Chiefs, though, right?
I
like
that we're both wearing Chiefs gear. That's fun.
I loved that game. You know why I love that game?
Because we won.
That and fuck the haters, man. I'm tired of people saying the Chiefs can't have an overwhelming victory. The Chiefs can't, do well on both sides of the ball at the same time.
I mean, we basically blew them out last week. When you take a knee at the goal line to not go up like 34, I can't remember what they had. I want to say it was like 10 or 17 or something. Like we that was a big win last week.
No, that was no.
And then again this week, like they were. So I guess if we're just talking Chiefs right now, the thing that I think a lot of people are starting to realize, which real Chiefs fans knew all year, which was the last 2 weeks, you've seen sparks of the playoff offense. Which is what they've refused to show anyone all year. And it's like, okay, let's make sure our guys are ready. Let's have them start running some of the route trees that we're going to have them do in the playoffs. And you're like, oh, all of a sudden, there's a lot of pop. Yeah. You're like, oh, look at this quick slant for 12 yards that we haven't seen literally since week 4. And you're like, I wonder where that's been. It's like literally under a tarp hidden in the back deck. Like there's a reason we don't show people that.
I had a hilarious conversation. I was watching it at my family's Christmas, and I was in the room with my mom and my dad. And my dad is a total buffoon when it comes to football. Now, he actually played. Strong. He actually played football at a pretty high level. He played at LSU, so he actually was he's played Division I football, and so you would think he would have any clue about the way football is played. And he does not. He has like zero understanding.
What did he play?
At LSU, I only think he played for one season. Shit, what did he play? He doesn't talk about it very much, honestly. He got a heat stroke and his gums tore out, so he doesn't. Not fun memories. I think he played defense, maybe defensive line, corner. Can't remember what he played.
So he played defense something.
You know what? No, let me fact check this. I might be getting my wires crossed. I know we got a full ride to LSU, but maybe it was academic and I'm getting my wires crossed and he didn't play. No. Now that I think about it, he got a full ride academic. He didn't get to play at LSU because his senior year at high school he got the heat stroke and the gum tore out, so he decided he didn't want to do it at LSU. Okay. At any rate, he played for 4 years in high school, and he was a big deal. He was the captain of the football team. I don't think he made All-American, but he was on the short list. Like, there was lots of shit that went down in high school with football with him. At any rate, it's amazing how much he played football and how much he cared about football, and yet knows nothing about football. I think he's just never the difference between professional football and high school football is miles, right? So he just never learned about what it is. But at any rate, it was hilarious in the room because it's my mom, who knows absolutely nothing about football, right? And willfully so, no reason to. And she was sitting there going, I think Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in NFL history, and I like everything that he does. And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I was watching him."
Like, yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, I was watching him in press conferences, and just the way he talks about wins, the way he talks about the team. I've seen him like in interviews and like in footage in the locker room, and he just seems like he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's always concentrated on the win. He doesn't care what it looks like. He doesn't care how flashy it is. He cares about the health of his team and the organization he's working for and the wins. Like, he doesn't really care about anything else." And it seems like a really clear focus for everybody in that organization. And he also just seems like a pretty strong leader. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, like famously, his whole team would like lay down on railroad tracks for him.
Yeah,
so, and he's not like a rah guy. Like he's just like, you see him talk. But like he's so genuine with his players, and they know he cares about them so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also just like money where your mouth is and consistency, right? Like that's what he's all about.
Yeah. Like if you ever listen to one of his press conferences, and like, you have Kadarius Toney being just a clown show last year, for an example. Like, literally the worst player in the entire league. And he was supposed to be their number one receiver. Like, they took a chance on him, and he just let them down super hard. I don't think it's 100% Toney's fault. I think he got the yips early. Well, first of all, he was forcing himself back from injury faster than he was supposed to. Like, so he was putting it out there for the team, risking his own health to play. And he had zero practice that season. Then, so he obviously comes out and has the worst game of his entire career. And drops like 4 passes and gives up 2 like interceptions. It was just garbage game. But then everyone's booing him, and because people won't grow the fuck up. And now he's got the yips, and it's all mental, and he has zero confidence in himself. Mm-hmm. And ever since that moment, he's been a worthless player in the NFL. And he had added value the year before. Like, he was a good player. And I get that, like, it was a flash in the pan. He could be bad all the time, but he never got his feet back under him. And Andy Reid, the press conference, like, we believe in this kid. Like, he deserves opportunities. Is like, he is laying down. He's like, everything that happened today was my fault. It's my fault he dropped 4 passes. And you're like, of course your players are going to love you. Like, he literally will do anything to protect them. So, okay, I have plenty on my list now. But I have a question. Do you want this to be, when we talk about these fights, is it only the 2 characters versus each other, or is it the whole, like, battle taking place?
What do you mean?
Like, I'm trying to think of an example that isn't on my list. Like, could I choose the Tournament of Power from Dragon Ball Super, like a specific section of it? Like, if I do Goku versus Jiren in the final, well, at the end of it, other people are helping. Do we just not count those parts?
I would say I'm putting everything as something versus something.
Sometimes, but it's like part of that fight. Like, it's the setting, right? Like, there's stuff's happening while they're fighting.
Well, honestly, a lot of the things on my list made my list because of what it meant to the story and the characters at the time. I'm not picking him solely for like visual spectacle, although that's also part of it. Like, but it's not solely for visual spectacle. It's also for like what it does for the story and why it's important. So I would say, like, you would say if you want like, because I really love Goku's ultimate instinct, right? When you say Goku versus Jiren, and just leave it there, right? And so you know it's the ultimate instinct.
Like, obviously, I'm not going to give you the entire Tournament of Power, right? That's silly. But the fights where Goku is fighting Jiren, well, if Frieza's helping him, that's still part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, right? But I'm not going to give you the Vegeta versus Top parts. Right. Like, that has nothing to do with them fighting.
Precisely. Yeah. They're very different segments of the...
Gotcha. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting vote. We'll see. I also don't know what percentage of our listeners watch anime, so this will be interesting.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I could find more, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I've got about 10 as well. There's one I know we both want to dramatically put on our list, but it's such a short interaction, it feels bad calling it a fight.
Ooh, interesting. I don't know if I picked any... I mean, some of them are like only very short.
Oh man, this is going to be an honor. Well, how about this? Let's do 6 because there's only 2 of us.
You want to do 6?
Let's
Okay.
do 6.
Okay, give me 1 second.
So just to be clear, the way I'm going to do this when I post it, I'll break it into 2 categories. And so the first 3 you pick will be one group. The second 3 you pick will be another group. Then we'll both have two listings, and then we'll combine votes. Make sense?
Okay, say that again.
So your first 3 picks will be in a tier. Your second 3 picks will be in a tier, and you'll have let's say 1 and 3, and I'll have 2 and 4. Then we'll combine our section votes at the end, and whoever has the most votes wins. So that it won't be one list of 6; it'll be 2 lists of 3. We'll just have 2 entries each, right?
And then we're going to eliminate one from each.
No, we're just going to count total votes. So each of us gets 2 submissions. If your vote 1 gets 3 votes and your vote 2 gets 2 votes, you have 5 total votes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We're pooling them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're just going to have 2 entries instead of 1.
Okay.
Because I know, it's going to be, we're going to have a 20 fucking person, wish list at the end. And so, we'll have way too many honorable mentions. Let's just do 6 each. Which I think we'll still have more than enough for. Okay. All right, so we're about 30 minutes in. Let's go and do the Mojo world. You ready? You would need more time?
I just need to find one freaking name here. I'm looking.
You don't have the people's names? What are you, some kind of nameless person? So I've started using my sticky note on my computer that I use to keep track of my to watch list. I use that to keep track of our Mojo World stuff. And I've added a subcategory under my watch list of don't watch. And it currently consists of 2 things, both of which were suggested by Aaron. Do you want to guess what they are?
What are they?
What do you want to guess?
No.
No. I have written down the Dog Skull movie, which is Blood of Heroes, which I am going to watch. I actually have it pulled up. And then the other one is Monty Dong, which is the film about, I think it's a French gay strip club. I can't remember exactly what it was. He picked it for one of our categories. I'd wrote in my do not watch list. In case you're ever confused, don't watch that. I just actually took something off my to watch list. Walking Dead.
It's gone?
Yeah, I watched it. Well, there's 5 episodes left. I'll have that done throughout the weekend. What was it? There was other stuff. I just rewatched The Martian. Very good. I think I underrated that movie the first time I watched it. Oh, God.
Yeah, The Martian is kind of like...
Nothing happens, but the whole movie is gripping. It's like Moneyball.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just gripping, and they're not doing anything. It's not exciting. It's just gripping. They make baseball analytics an incredibly fun watch.
Yeah. That movie is so much fun to watch. I really enjoy that movie. Although I also like movies like Castaway and all those kind of just solve this really hard puzzle movies. But that one is much more interesting than Castaway, because Castaway is specifically supposed to be super quiet and kind of painful
supposed to be depressing,
to watch. Yeah. And this one is specifically not, but it's still good. The
other one that's kind of in the same vein is The Big Short. And all of these have crazy acting in it, right? They're just unbelievable cast.
Yeah.
Donald Glover is freaking in The Martian. Nobody remembers that he's in there. What's the guy's name from Dumb and Dumber?
Oh my God! I can't. I know this makes me so mad. I can't think of his name.
David something.
No.
Was it? Fuck.
I can't not know this. This makes me so.
I know I've
Jeff
had
Daniels. God
Jeff
damn it!
Daniels,
I wanted to say
such a normal name.
I wanted to say Jeff Daniels out loud, but I couldn't because I was doing something wrong.
Coward.
I was a coward. I'm a coward and a fool.
Okay. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know I've left something off, but we're gonna go with this.
Oh, don't worry, I've got it for you. All right, here we go. This week, Mojo World, we have the best anime fights. All right, Parker, you get to go first, because.
Okay, going first, I have to pick Saitama versus Boros.
Ooh,
One Punch Man.
That was pretty high up on my list.
Yeah, One Punch Man. Saitama versus Boros is amazing.
Yeah, I told you about this, right? The first time I went to watch it, I just went to Netflix or Hulu and I clicked One Punch Man, and the way they had done it is they did a special premiere version of the 8th episode, which is the Boros fight. And so it played that before playing the rest of the show. So I watched the final episode of season 1. I was like, this show fucking rocks. Like, this show goes hard.
Yeah.
And then it started playing the intro, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I hope mine doesn't get taken. I have to pick one on this list because it was the very first time I ever turned on an anime that I remember. Like, I think the very first time I ever turned on an anime, it was. I'll set the scene for you later. I don't want to spoil it, but it was a fight that is amazing. It's just amazing, and that was it. I was like, and I'm in. I got to watch whatever this is.
All right, I doubt that's on my list based on your description.
Okay.
All right. So next up, I've got, because that makes it sound like it was on TV.
It was on television.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go with Goemon versus Hawk from Lupin the Third. The samurai versus the American, I guess.
I think it's supposed to be Canadian.
He's like a lumberjack
with
robot person.
Yeah,
it's very weird. Yeah, but holy shit, that's such a cool fight.
Everything about the first and the second fight are both awesome, but the second one is amazing.
Yeah, he basically spends the entire movie just preparing his body to be able to kill this man, and oh my god, it's like the best. Like, the only other thing similar enough to that for like swordsmanship, because in anime, sword fights are always like ridiculous. Like, there's anime sword fights and real sword fights are not even remotely similar. They do a really good job making it feel like a real sword fight. And the only other show that ever did that was Samurai Champloo.
I was about to say Samurai Champloo.
What's his name? The Gene or Gene? I can't remember.
Gene versus the big like bad guy Ronin at the end. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh man, that was such a great fight.
So I went with Goemon versus Hawk. So I get to go twice because I went second. So next up, I'm going to go with, I think I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation on this, but Ichigo versus Ulquiorra. The emo Aaron car with the scene where he dies and then turns into a like, I think they call Vastro Lords or whatever. He turns into the big bad Hollow for the first time. That whole fight is like, that for me is like, that's what set the standard for what like epic anime fights are. Because that fight has so many stages to it. There's like when they're fighting inside, they're fighting outside. He realizes he's far outmatched. The guy's just like toying with him for a while. And then it's like the whole different story aspect changes when he turns into a hollow and like loses his humanity completely. And that whole fight is so crazy. And then there's also like the relationship between the girl and the hollow, because he's had her kidnapped for so long. Anyway.
I really like in that fight. It kind of has a fifth act because the Arankar is still like fine with Ichigo. He's like, yeah, I'll just keep fighting you, and he does. And then Ichigo just like powers through it, right? Just like he just like goes full rage monster, and he just doesn't care what's happening. And then pretty soon he starts overwhelming him. And like the concept
the whole
of that
aspect is like he has no like emotions. Like, he's so pragmatic and like flat. And then he's like, oh, like, well, you're like a beast. You have no sanity. Like, so I don't have to worry about you. So he goes to kill him. And then he's like, wait, is this guy actually fighting me? And he doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And at the end, he's like, yeah, of course you would just want to like brutally murder me. So that makes sense. Like, even as he's about to die, he's like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
this might as well happen.
Yeah. I guess we're doing this. All right. Your next two.
Okay, I get two. I'm gonna go with. I think I have to say All Might versus All for One.
Yeah, that was next up on my list.
That one is just too great. Although the first time I ever saw My Hero was a different fight. I'll talk about that later. Maybe it's not our motion. And then my.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that one for a second.
Oh, what?
All
Might versus All for One? Or,
yeah.
All Might versus All for One is like,
because the fight isn't actually that long because there's so much shit going on around it. They don't really focus on their fight.
No,
it kind of is happening in the background for a lot of it.
It's also really, I think it's really interesting. I think the show does a really good job of big bads are really, really dangerous, right?
Mhm.
But so are also the heroes, right? Like the heroes and All for One represents the master of the tagline of the show, which is, plus ultra, right? The idea is it doesn't matter how much you think your limit is, you can go beyond your limit, right?
Yeah.
Go beyond.
100% of 100%.
Right. Yeah. And it's cool because every other young character in the game is learning how to do that, and that's how they're growing, right? As they're getting closer to the ability to do that.
Smash through your limits,
right? And All Might has already mastered that, and so that fight is so exciting. Watching like massive ego versus pure willpower, and it's and
go ahead.
The tempo of it is so wonderful. He's like, I didn't put my back into it.
Yeah.
Just like, oh,
he's like, huh? he just flexes through the broken arm. Yeah. Like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the part that, because like you said, they do a really good job of showing that, like, if I actually cut loose and try and kill this guy, first of all, would you try and kill this guy, even though he's pure evil? Mm-hmm. But if I do, I'm just going to kill all my friends. So, like, this is, like, not going to work.
Yeah.
And then, so they finally get clear, so he's able to fight him. And it's the scenes where it cuts away to, like, the symbolism of what's happening to his body.
Yeah.
And it's like the dregs of his power left in his body is what's keeping him going. And the moment when, like, the fire erupts and engulfs him entirely, and he just fucking nuclear punches him into a crater, and then his, like, body just gives out. Yeah. He's like, that's one of the coolest fight scenes, where he's like, I'm just going to sacrifice everything I am and punch you into the next planet. Like,
Also, there's so many visual cues about what happens later in the show with the power set in that scene, and you don't even realize what's going on. Like, going back and watching that scene now, it still has that same emotional impact because it's a wonderful scene. But it also, like, there's lots of moments in that scene. You're like, oh shit, things are happening in this scene that I come to find out later are important.
Yeah.
And I just thought before were just cool anime shit.
Yeah, when they hit the ultimate power up, where they're utilizing 100% of the ability, and, like, all the different atoms start smashing together and forming this giant comet of energy. Yeah. You're like, that's always been, like, all of the other holders basically putting in their ante, right? And so the whole time that's been happening, but the way it happens in that scene is so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so what's your next pick?
Okay, my next pick, I'm going to go with my favorite character from JJK, and I'm going to go with Toji. I really have a hard time picking.
And then anyone Toji fights.
Anybody Toji fights is so fucking fun because I fucking love it.
Hey kid, you want to play catch?
Yeah.
Why are you playing catch? You just got to catch it. How am I supposed to catch that?
That's a wonderful abridged. Yeah,
it is. It's great.
I'm actually going to go with Toji versus Dagon though, and the reason why is, Toji versus Fushiguro is amazing. It's a wonderful fight. But Toji versus Dagon is amazing because in that moment in the show, it's just like peak anxiety, right? Like peak suspense. Like the whole show is built up this idea that these pinnacle monsters inside of their domain are unstoppable. You've got 4 of, like, the strongest soul,
side characters.
Side characters fighting this one guy. You're like, maybe it works, and then Fushiguro is like, I did it. I figured out how to get out, and everybody's piling.
And they're all like, we're gonna. It's like, because like that's when the tension's really. It's like, oh, they found a way out. They're implementing it perfectly. Here they go, and then Toji.
Yeah, all of a sudden Toji's head pops out,
and everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy? And then the old man's like, no, this couldn't be possibly worse.
You are also, like, everyone is like, oh no, it's so much suspense and so slow and so built and so wonderful, and then you get this wonderful pathos, right, of the bad guy just getting the absolute shit beaten out of him. Dagon just gets fucking rolled.
And there's that moment he's like, well, I'll just sink him to the bottom of the ocean. What will he possibly do? Start sprinting at full speed. You're like, oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. So I've got final pick here.
Is this it? We're done with this? Or is that the end?
No. We're going to do we're each going to do one more set of 3.
Okay.
I'm going to do Levi versus the Beast Titan. This is one of the ones I had trouble picking.
Interesting.
Because it's not really a fight, but it's such an emotional scene, and he's the catch, right? He's like, basically the entire army sacrifices their lives to give him this opportunity, and he makes do with it, right? Like, he completely eviscerates this dude instantly.
Right.
But the thing that, like, the Beast Titan's been an untouchable monster the entire time, and then just some guy who's just fucking dangerous just gets in there and cuts him to pieces.
Yeah.
It's like, I love Levi, and I know he's like a trope character, but that scene was like worth the payoff of that very emotional lead up of like, you know, Erwin, I think is how you say his name, and like the charge they have, and like there's that gloom moment when like they're pinned down behind the houses and they're just waiting to die, and that whole build up for that 30-second scene was just so worth it, and it showed you like how bought in this regiment is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a hard pick, but it's such an amazing scene, but it's also so short, and it's not even really a fight because he doesn't fight the Beast Titan, he kills it. And so anyway, that's my first set of 3. All right, so next up, I figure we'll just reverse it, and then you can go second on this one.
Sure.
Okay. So my first pick on my second set of 3 is going to be... Have you seen Attack on Titan?
Yes.
Damn it. It's not safe.
I'm
trying to figure out which one you're going to take.
I'll spoiler here. I didn't put any Attack on Titans on my list.
Okay, I'll save that one then. Because I only have 4 left, and I don't want you to take one of them.
I am not upset about Attack on Titan. Oh, sorry, I'm not upset about anybody saying Attack on Titan fights aren't great. But I am... The
fights are different.
Yeah.
Because they're not like person versus person. They're just like... It's like kaiju fights. It's like, well, is Godzilla a good fight movie? Not really, but... I'm going to go with this because I don't think you've seen this show. I'm going to do Naruto versus Pain.
No, I've not seen
Naruto Shippuden. And so this is one of the first like 5-act fights where it goes through multiple stages. And part of it is it's emotionally impactful fight due to the things surrounding it. And part of it is just it's a cool fight. Unfortunately, kind of like the JJK season, they had some really weird animation in it, and this has been told to me, I don't know if this is true or not, but like for those really big budget fights that take place over like 10-20 episodes, what they basically do is they outsource animation. So they go, it's like, hey, you need to draw this 5-second scene of like so-and-so fighting so-and-so, and this needs to be happening. And they'll submit it, and they'll basically get it approved. And so you have different artists mixing in different styles, which is why the Naruto versus Pain fight switches styles like 6 times throughout the fight, because they just didn't have the anime budget to do it all in-house. But yeah, I think it's a cool fight. The concept of like the whole village is basically destroyed, and everyone's been fighting this one guy and losing the whole time, and then Naruto shows up, who was like the class clown through the entirety of 2 shows, and then finally matures into this fighter that is now saving his people. And then the scene where he like meets his dad for the first time and all this stuff happens, and it's very, you know, gratifying payoff for like your 250 episodes invested. And so I really much like that scene. Anyway, so that's mine, and we are back to Parker.
Okay, I'm going to go with one that I really don't want you to take. I don't think you ever would, but I'm going to go with the one that I have to have, which is the very first anime scene I ever saw. I turned on at like 10:30 at night on Adult Swim an episode of Cowboy Bebop. And,
yeah, I was never going to pick that.
And the episode, there's the first fight between Spike, the main character, and Vicious, the main antagonist. It happens in a church, and that scene is so beautiful and terrifying and wonderful that I was set up literally for life in anime. I was just like, this is amazing. Like, it's very John Woo-esque. You know, it's like literally there's like there's
gun kata,
yeah, it's like gun kata plus, you know, there's like slow motion falling out of a window glass and like birds flying around, you know, like it definitely takes like some John Woo kind of ideas, but the emotional like depth of the scene is really intense, and the whole scene, like, I don't know if this is John Woo also, but there's no noise for a huge portion of it, and it's
silent,
just
and then roaring sound out of it.
Yeah, it's no noise, and there's this very melodic, like classical song that plays in the background, just like a violin quartet song. And Vicious as a character is just so terrifying. It is a wonderful scene that is it's also the first scene you actually get any hint about Spike's past. It's the first episode where you get any idea about where he came from, which, becomes to define his character in the later half of the show. And so, it really is like the start of the serious part of Cowboy Bebop, which, not just the lighthearted bounty hunting thing.
I need to go back and rewatch Cowboy Bebop. I haven't seen it since I was in high school, and so there's a lot of stuff I don't remember about it. I only remember vague parts.
I
just remember not respecting Vicious as a villain, just because logically as a kid, I was like, well, he has a gun. Just shoot. It's just it didn't seem reasonable. But that was also one of the first animes I ever watched, and so I was just like, why could a guy with the sword fight a guy with the gun? That doesn't make sense. And it's I just saw Last Samurai, and now you're gonna have me watch this bullshit. It's just very weird. And so I need to go back and rewatch it with mature eyes, and I'm trying to appreciate it.
Yeah, I had Spike, and also this scene is also dramatic and wonderful, action too. I challenge anybody.
Definitely. Cowboy Bebop had an amazing it was really good about getting you immersed into the moment, and obviously the dramas, the space opera does that.
It also did a really interesting job of doing something that I think a lot of good storytelling does, which is some of the episodes are bright as hell, literally color bright, they're on the surface of the Earth episode, for example. It's everything is bright and colorful, and the whole episode is kind of bright and colorful. It's just it's a very different.
And it goes feel. like navy blue and black, and you're like, oh
yeah. Yeah, their whole episodes are just black.
What is your next?
Oh, my next one is going to be the Prettiest Fight Award. Is the Demon Slayers versus Upper Six.
That is the Entertainment District?
That's the Entertainment District.
Okay.
So
the Sound Ninja Man.
Yeah. So I think it's all the my favorite part is actually when all four of them are against the two siblings. That culmination is so. I love the Demon Slayer show because I love the characters in Demon Slayer. I think they're all actually given a lot of character, and they spend a lot of time learning all these characters. And that fight is really fun.
I cannot remember basically anyone's name from Demon Slayer because they're all really Japanese names.
Yeah,
but the Lightning Kid,
Zenitsu,
finally. Fucking makes his money. Piece of shit. You've been so useless for 2, 3, 4 seasons now. It's just finally you fucking do something.
Yeah. My favorite character is actually probably Inosuke, the Beast Boy.
I can't believe you like that character.
And the reason why I like him is because the whole point of the character is there is an anime trope that I really love that not every anime uses, which is the guy that never dies, right? The regular kind of mortal person who just gets beat the snot out of them, but he just keeps getting back up. And there's no point physically for them to be able to do that, but they just kind of sheer will, right? I love the sheer will character.
It's a willpower,
and that's who he is, right? He's constantly beating the shit out of, but it seems like the more he's beaten up, the stronger he gets, right? Or the more feral he becomes, and he keeps going. And so I love in the moment when Zenitsu is tangling with the girl, and he's like, I'm all by myself, I got to do this right now, I got to beat her right now, or else everybody's gonna die. And then he's like, but I can't do it. And then Inosuke shows up, and it's just blood is flying from his mask, and he's just so gross. But he's like, I'm gonna help you. I just love, I love the whole sequence. The four of them versus the two siblings is wonderful.
Yeah. No, I think they did a really good job with that. I think, like you said, the animation in those fights is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I
do think that they milk the suspense a little too hard. There's the scenes where there's so he uses thunderclap and flash godlike speed, right? He's moving at north of the speed of sound for 7 minutes in the show in his straight line, and he's in the city still. It's just okay, come on. How long did both of the demons have swords in their necks, and it was slowly cutting? I'm like, come on, we get it, just do it. And they're just screaming, okay, do it though. Come on, that's my only problem with Demon Slayer is they manage to stretch 20 minutes of show into an hour-long setting, and it's fine. It's beautiful, it's cool. I don't like the plot, but it's fun. I watch it, I enjoy it. It's just not my favorite show. Okay,
go ahead.
I don't know. I have to put this on here. I'll just put Demon Slayers.
Yeah,
upper 6.
Yeah. That's what I want to give you the short.
I'm not typing all their fucking names.
No. That's exactly why I said it like I said it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say a fight from a show that was recommended to me by a friend who almost lost friendship over recommending this show, and that is Black Clover. This show is terrible. This is not good. I watched like 6 seasons of this fucking show. It's so boring and bad. But later, there's like a time skip, and then the show gets very good. I was very excited. So basically, it starts off very much like One Piece or Naruto. The animation's poor. Most importantly to me, there has to be something that your show does well. Because the story writing is not good. The animation is not good. The dialogue is not good. And so that's the only thing left is the fighting animation. And the fighting animation was bad because they didn't understand like choreography at all. And so there's like the really clumsy scenes where it's like guy runs into scene and waves a big wide slash and it's just like the guy flies backwards. You're like, there's nothing happening. Like it's just cheap animation. It's so poorly organized. But the show gets better over time. And but it gets to the later seasons. And like you get jacked Asta, and he comes back from his like training montage, and he's like fucking jacked. Like the main character is huge now, and then the actual villains of the storyline show up, and then things get really interesting. The animation gets a huge bump, and it's like the slow grow comes into a very fast grow, kind of like One Piece does, where it's like it's very bad, mediocre, not good, and then amazing out of nowhere. But anyway, the fight I'm picking is Asta and Yami versus. Can't remember his name. It's one of the devils. I'll look it up in a second. But it's the only fight people could confuse it for. It's Devil shows up and attacks Asta, and then his captain shows up, and then they fight him together. And it's the guy's ability. He basically is, because you've not seen Black Clover, correct?
No.
So in this world, everyone's a mage basically. It's just very similar to My Hero Academia. Everyone has a superpower, but you have like one type of magic. That's the only type of magic you can do. So the main character is born without a magic type, so he doesn't get magic, right? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Then he's randomly chosen by this evil, demented book that's like a book of anti-magic. And so instead of being a wizard, he's an anti-magic wizard. So he absorbs magic, he can reflect spells at people using the sword that he can pull out of the book. And as it goes on, he ends up being able to use 3 swords. And so there's 3 swords come out of the book. So his magic type is anti-magic, and his captain's magic type is dark magic, which is just weird. Mm-hmm. And so he does all kinds of anti-magic stuff as well. But then they fight this guy, and he has 2 abilities. He has body control magic, so he can turn himself into this giant monstrosity. It's like 30 feet tall, has big, like 4-6 arms, like this instantly regenerates. Then his other power is gravity control, which is exactly as broken as it sounds, because he can create black holes and shit and just rip mountains out of the ground. Like, oh, fuck. So the fight of these 2 versus him is crazy, but Yami is very much All Might. He's like, I have to push past my limits. He's always doing that. It's also voiced by Chris Sabat, so it's awesome. But yeah, it's a very cool fight.
Black Clover has been recommended to me by many young people that I don't trust. Like a lot of kids.
It is a rough watch for an adult. For the first, 3 seasons, probably.
Yeah, a lot of kids that like anime who find out that I like anime ask me to watch Black Clover. And so I usually immediately don't because I don't trust them.
Yeah, it's if you have free time and you're doing something while it's on, that's fine. Like if you were playing a video game and had it on and it was like a quiet video game like Destiny 2 or something, you could have it on in the background and absorb the information because it's not complex, right? You don't have to really be paying that much attention. But there are great scenes in the show. And that's why I compare it to One Piece a lot. It's got a lot of not important and some really good parts.
Yeah.
But the last season has just been very good. Every episode is oh man, I am engaged. I want to know what's happening. The writing has gotten better. The animation's gotten better. I'm actively engaged on all fronts. But then there hasn't been any new content for 2 years. So actually, it's probably closer to 3 or 4 now. Basically, since COVID, there hasn't been any Black Clover that I'm aware of. All right. Anyway, my final pick. This is hard. I've got 2 left on my list, and it's really hard to pick one. That's probably why I'm rambling so much. So, are you picking them based more on what this fight means to the show, or just the visual of the fight?
The answer is yes. Honestly,
Okay.
I'm picking them mostly. I'm going with the old adage, which is which ones mean a lot to me. So like the spikes, like the Spike versus Vicious one, I don't know if that makes many people's like top 20 or whatever, but
yeah,
it meant a huge amount to me, and it is a gorgeous scene, and so I'm not ashamed to pick it. The same thing's true for like Saitama versus Boros. Like it just, I loved that show so much.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, I'm going to go with Gojo versus Toji in the season 2 of JJK. What do you mean? And I think it just that means more to me than the other one I was going to pick was. Mm-hmm. I think the other one is a better fight, but because this, again, it's a very short fight.
Yeah,
but it's just very cool to me. I love the way they animate it. I love the way they use their powers against each other, and so it's just a very cool, interesting way to go about it. And the setup for the fight, because like the entire start of season 2 is just setting up this fight.
I also, when people say the season 2 of JJK, I go, "Oh, you mean the movie they put inside of season 2 of JJK?"
Because it was really 2 movies.
Yeah, I feel like one of them feels like an anime series, like 100%, and the other one feels like a feature-length movie. They just happen to split it into pieces.
There's the Gojo flashback movie, and then there's the actual Shibuya arc, which are both great on their own right. It's just one is maybe the best season of anime ever, and the other one is like a good movie.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. So now we got your final pick, sir.
Okay, my final pick.
I just could not pick Gojo for one. Gojo fights are so fun.
It's a little bizarre that I really, really want to pick this. Because
if you pick Trigun, I will literally kill you.
No.
Good.
No. I love Trigun, but the fights are not what I like about Trigun.
Good.
It's funny. So earlier when you were trying to describe what is like qualifies as a fight, you're like you said, let me just pick one that I would never pick, and you happen
like Trigun.
No. You happen to pick the one that is on my list that I think I have to say, which is Jiren versus Universe 7, the end of.
So I'm going to say Goku versus Jiren, and it's just Goku is leading the fight because he does fight all of Universe 7, but.
Well, it's just the 3 remaining Universe 7 people, right? That's the part. Because the Goku fights are fun, but there's more Goku fights. I love the end of it because
the team up specifically.
Yeah, the team up because there's a part where Vegeta is just staring at Frieza and Goku fighting somebody at the same time.
Yeah,
and he's just like, what? And it's 100% how I felt in that moment. And I realized that I was doing it while I was watching it because they showed Vegeta's face. And I was like, I'm doing the same thing, Vegeta. I feel exactly the same way you do. This is fucking awesome.
Man, I tell you, I would never tell somebody to watch Dragon Ball Z, but I would definitely recommend people watch Dragon Ball Super. Yeah. It is so much better.
Yeah. And
it's like, I don't even know that you need really, like, you can watch a 10-minute, like, recap video of DBZ and then just go straight into Super. I don't even know that you need that.
This is the reason why the end of the tournament, which is Jiren versus the 3 last members of Universe 7 is so important, is because those, like, 3 people, like, the 3 beings, I guess, are, if you did slog through all of DBZ, which I did, like, they are very unlikely allies, right? And yet it's funny because...
Funny how death does that to people.
Yeah, but the tournament, like, created a scenario in which all 3 of them feel like they have to because Jiren is this monster, right? And they can't possibly beat him. And so it's a really cool end. And I can't... There is another fight on my list that if we do an honorable mention, I'll mention it because...
I also have an honorable mention.
Because it's also an amazing fight, but I feel like I can't not pick a DBZ fight anywhere in there. The only other one that could possibly make the list is Cell versus Gohan, but
Cell versus Gohan is great, but again, it's like it's so tainted because it's stretched out, like the good parts of that.
Yeah,
it's probably like 3 episodes, but it's stretched out over 30 because it's DBZ,
right?
And it's just like there's so much not good in there. Like what about Blue Baby Cell?
Yes,
And
exactly.
Like what?
That's literally exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
All the
it's
blue baby cells bullshit. Like, it's so
just
dumb.
like, oh man, stop! What are you doing?
But to this, I've told you before. I wish I had. I need to have a wallpaper. I'm sure somebody's done a high res of this. Is the Gohan with his broken arm and his regular arm walking towards
the Geekery has a playmat with that on it.
Really?
Yeah, we have it for sale. It's him walking forward doing the Kamehameha and then like cells on the back side of it.
Yeah.
And it's like across the whole playmat.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I just love it because I love his face.
Mm-hmm.
And they play the filler kind of noise. He's just walking towards Cell, and Cell's just like, holy shit! It's so perfect.
And Vegeta's like distracting him and like shooting him in the back.
Yeah, it's really that scene is amazing, but not as good. Not as good.
Honestly, like everyone says that DBZ should just ended right there, and a lot of people are right.
Yeah,
because the Majin Buu arc was so garbage for so many reasons,
so terrible.
But the Vegeta arc within that arc was amazing. Wonderful. And so it's like you would never want to give up that Vegeta stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the whole like Babidi situation and like his redemption story, his sacrifice, all of that was so great. Like it was again like 400 episodes of payoff.
Yeah.
And then but at the same time, like the rest of it was so bad. They clearly just didn't know what they were doing anymore.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so that was your honorable mention. My honorable mention is going to be.
Oh no, that's not my honorable mention. Oh yeah, that's
what?
Goku.
I know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my honorable mention is another Attack on Titan, Eren versus the Warhammer Titan, and it has nothing to do with their fight. It is 100% of what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
And because there's honestly, because I had taken some time off because it took a while for I think it's season 4 to come out.
Yes, it did.
Which is the huge time skip. So there's years I hadn't watched any. And I wasn't going to go back and rewatch everything. So I just started the new episodes. Mm-hmm. And there's like a 10-year time jump. And one of the main character is undercover using an alias in a place he's never been before and doesn't look the same. And so I had no idea it was the main character for like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like watching this. All right, so who's this guy? Like, we're doing his stuff. And then finally he sits down in that room with Reiner and instantly I knew what was going on. I went, oh shit. Yeah. And then there's that incredibly tense scene between them. And like the dude's like nephew is there. And you're like, oh shit. Like this is going to go. Like we've done like Dark Eren a little bit, but this is about to turn real fucking bloody real fast.
Yeah.
And it does. And, you know, there's the huge reveal. And there's like immediately the Warhammer starts fighting back. And he's like, oh, Eren bit off more than he can chew. Like he's about to get himself fucking killed here. Mm-hmm. And then when the fucking scout company arrives out of nowhere, oh my god, that's such an amazing reveal. And all of like the soldiers are running, screaming, like, and there's like the Titans are attacking the scout units because all of their Titans come out. And there's that moment where the Titan's like, what are they doing? They're charging us. Yeah. Why would you charge a Titan? That's just pure insanity. Yeah. And he realized, like, he's like, I am terrified of regular people.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And then it's like, you see, like, Levi, like, killing, like, the Beast Titan and, like, all the stuff. It's just so great because it's just like, you've driven us to just pure rage and desperation, and this is what you get out of it. And you have terrorists. It's like, yep. It's like, this is what you get. When you want terrorists, this is how you get terrorists. I had several people telling me that have been watching Attack on Titan. I had to stop watching it. It's like, well, why did you stop watching it? And they go, well, it just got like they just condone genocide in like I can't watch a show that does that. I'm like, did you listen to the words in the previous seasons? Like you mean which genocide when they like literally killed 99% of their population 100 years ago? Like, what are you talking about? And so it's like this is the only place it was ever going to get to. Like, of course that happens.
But that's the whole point, right? Like the cycle of violence, right? That's
exactly. And you talk about like willpower, and like part of willpower is rage in a lot of animes, and it's like the rage that Eren has in all those. He's like the first time in the first season when he's lifting the big stone and he's like unconscious on the ground, and there's that flashback scene of him in his kitchen, and there's the scene where it all just ignites in flame, and he just like breaks through the illusion. It's like that scene is like so powerful if you can really get along with the character, and so it's like the emotions that the fight scenes bring out, I think, is more important than just like the Beast Titan fight.
Yeah,
it's more important than the fight itself. Like the fight is kind of whatever. All right, We did it. We got through all of them. I'm curious how people are going to receive this. I wonder if they're going to like this or not. Because obviously we went very in-depth on a lot of these, as opposed to our normal quick picks.
I'm surprised you didn't do another My Hero one. I kind of expected one.
I don't think any of the My Hero fights are individually that great. I really don't.
There's one other fight that was the first thing I ever saw in My Hero ever. Because it was just like a random video on the internet. And I was like, I have to figure this. I have to see this show.
You doing the muscular fight?
No, I hate that one was terrible.
That one has good scenes.
It was All Might versus Nomu.
Sure, that one's a good one. It's because so many of their fights are like ensemble fights. Very seldom is it one guy versus one guy. It's like it'll be for a little bit, but then it'll change up or something.
Yeah,
and sure. I think My Hero is a weird thing because I can't tell you why I like My Hero other than it's got superheroes in it. But it's just like I do, and it's hard to put my finger on it because, like Bleach, I like the fight animations.
Yeah.
Like I think if you want, I just want the coolest fight. I think Bleach does that better than any show.
I almost put the Yamamoto fight from the last.
Again, it was just so short, and that's the thing I hate about 1,000-Year Blood War is it's just so condensed that you don't really get to savor the fights, and so it's like there's also the was it the Kenpachi fight against Grimmy? It's just like it feels so rushed, where it's like all they're doing is just colorizing the panels, the panels, and then adding a little bit of like movement to it, and that's like it feels like all they're doing. It feels like a flip book as opposed to an anime.
Yeah,
but I mean it's still good. It's just not quite the same. But yeah, the Yamamoto fight is fucking awesome.
I know I must be forgetting so many, and it makes me sad to know that I gotta be forgetting so many wonderful fights that if somebody said,
there's also,
of course.
Because there's so many they're like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and it's like, well, I can't choose all of these because they're kind of all the same fight. Right. And so you're trying to pick different ones.
I didn't pick the All Might versus Nomu because it's very similar to the All Might versus All for One. Yeah, exactly. And it's just less meaningful to the story for sure.
Yeah. Like, for example, if I could choose the heroes versus Shigaraki in Season 6, I probably would do that. Because that's an amazing battle. That's not really a fight. It's a battle. It's an entire group of individuals versus one guy, and they're losing. Those are always cool, but I don't know if you could really pick them. They're not versus. Like, I wanted to pick Ichigo versus Byakuya, the Squad 6 captain. In Season 2, because that's such an amazing fight, and then like you get to like the Aizen versus Ichigo fight, and it's not really a good fight. It's just kind of whatever.
Yeah,
I mean it is conclusive and it's nice, and I don't think there's really a serious problem with it, but it's not like a great fight. There's a ton of Naruto fights you can pick. Like pick any part of like the finale of Naruto, and everyone picks like the final Sasuke Naruto fight, which is a great fight. It's just not my favorite. But I think the Pain fight is definitely my favorite fight in Naruto.
There's also like the most one of the most iconic moments in all of anime that's been retweeted and rememed so many times. It becomes iconic with like what anime fights look like, which is like was it Gaara versus
Rock Lee?
Yeah, Rock Lee. Like that.
Yeah,
that
that's
fight,
a hugely famous one.
Yeah, it's just a big deal. It's just like this. It is awesome. It is so dramatic when he drops.
I think if either of us had picked that, people would 100% have agreed it's in the top 12.
Yeah,
like I don't think anybody would have blinked. I think they're right. It's just I love Gaara. That fight's not my favorite. I don't know why. Because it's just like there's no stakes. It's like a practice bout. Like it doesn't like. There's also the one of Nenji versus Naruto, which is a great fight in that same tournament. But there's just no stakes. Like. I don't know. It just isn't as gripping for me.
You're right. That would be like picking one of the practice tournament.
Yeah,
like the practice.
Perfect example. Shoto versus Deku in the tournament.
Yeah, that's an
amazing fight, but it's fairly short and it's got an amazing ending, but like it's just there's no stakes.
The animation when he raises his hand and it's just like everything's fucking white, and you're like, oh shit!
Because I play the Universus card game and they had these cards, and so like I have that card. Like I put it in decks. It's bad. I put it in deck. I'm like, nope, we're fucking every deck it could go. It's called Searing Glacial Storm. And it was like, yep, fucking get them. And there's It's called Kindling the Flame, and it's the scene where All Might's like huddled over the campfire from the All Might versus All for One fight. I have that in every deck it's legal to be played in because I just love the art so much, and it's like I have like bad decks that I put these cards in. But yeah, I think Bleach has the best fights, but is not the best show. Definitely not. Like Kenpachi versus Ichigo in season 2 is also a fucking great fight. Mm-hmm. Kenpachi versus I can't remember the guy's name, the Mantis dude in one of the later seasons when they're in Wako Mundo, right before Ichigo fights Yukiya, and yeah, there's so many good ones. And even like the Bleach filler arcs, like the story is garbage, but like the fights are still good.
Mm-hmm. I was actually trying to think of anime movie fights, and I only had one I could think of on my list because I've seen so many anime movies, but none of them really stood out to me as like for fights.
Mm-hmm. But I have one more honorable mention.
Go for it.
And again, it's not really a fight, but Overlord season 3 finale when Ainz casts the Black Goat spell.
Yeah,
that scene is fucking amazing.
That scene is that's so not really funny. A fight. It's
not a fight. He decided to murder 100,000 people at the same time. Like, there's also great fights is Overlord versus what's her name? Shaltir, the vampire. He has to go fight her. That's a good fight.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's an isekai, so that's like an overpowered isekai. There's not really a lot of fighting. There's just like him beating people.
One of my favorite fights is, you want to talk like really quiet fights that's super short, but it's really awesome. Is I'm watching Frieren right now. Frieren versus a demon named Ara, and it's famous.
Is that yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, but the reason I really, really don't like that I had seen it before, like as a clip, because it's so dramatic and it's really cool, because the episode is actually amazing, because the whole episode is about why Frieren beats Ara, and it actually has to do with her whole life and her former master, who you don't know a lot about until that episode.
Yeah, it's not really a fight, it's just a confrontation.
Right, it's a confrontation, but like you don't know why it's so important that she knows how to win, because the point of demons is that they really are that scary, they really are that terrifying of creatures, and it just so happens that Frieren, by virtue of her long life and all the study that she's had, she knows how to beat them, but it's about understanding them and not overpowering them. It's such an awesome moment. I will actually put that. I should have put that on the list, because it is. I really enjoyed.
I don't know that that's really a fight though. I don't.
It's not really a fight. It's more like a confrontation. Yeah. The fight I will say from a movie that I have to say is Sword of the Stranger. Have you ever seen Sword of the Stranger?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you want to talk about like really cool? It is physically impossible, some of the things they do, but they spent time animating an actual sword fight. Like feeling, like you feel like the sound and the way the characters move, you feel the steel clashing. The very last fight, the sword of the stranger his name is Nanashi, and the whole point of it is he refuses to draw his sword because he's had these trauma experience, earlier in his life as a warrior, and he's really, really strong, and so he refuses to draw his sword. And he does this amazing fight early in the movie against a ninja. And he never draws his sword. He just beats the fuck out of him with the sword in the scabbard. It's brutal, like what he does. But later on, he's forced to draw the sword against this character named Lu Long. And you want to look it up. Nanashi versus Lu Long in Sword of the Stranger. And the reason why is Lu Long is a masochist, right? Like he loves to. He's a sadist, not a masochist. He's a sadist, and so he's honed his sword skills so that he can kill people and make them like feel pain and suffer. He just gets off on it, and so Nanashi feels like he has to draw his sword against him, and that fight is amazing. I've watched that fight so many times. The movie is not bad either, but the fight is amazing.
Let's see. I had another honorable mention that I just forgot. Damn it.
I love how many. Like I said, I feel like I'm gonna forget one if I don't see them all.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
I didn't even go into like.
There's a show I hadn't mentioned yet.
I didn't even go into like the Star Wars anime shorts. Some of those fights are amazing.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Eminence in Shadow?
Why does that ring such a bell?
I recommended it to you.
I don't think so.
It's another isekai. The final fight
No,
in
I have not seen
season
him.
2 or season 1, where he fights the elf sword master and the princess at the same time. It's kind of fun, but again, it's not. I don't even. It is a fight because they are fighting for a while, but he's just playing with them the whole time.
Man, this has been the longest Mojo verse, but it's been really fun.
I mean, at this point, we're just rambling about anime.
Yeah.
We can go back to talking about Marvel Rivals.
Actually,
just public service announcement. If you happen to play Adam Warlock, you should use your heal power. That's just personal opinion. Do not just stand in the back and not heal people, and also not attack people with Adam Warlock.
Yeah, it's really bizarre how bad
that was such a weird game.
Like,
well, I mean, it's anytime
guys.
you get big
zap.
IP, right? Like you have people playing it just because it's Marvel, and you have people playing it because it's a shooter, and you have people playing it because it's a game.
Yeah.
It's like shit.
Yeah,
and so like these people will not have fun with each other.
It's also very hyped right now. Like people are
exactly.
People are
and it's free.
Shit. Yeah,
no barrier to entry. So people are like, I'll just try it a few matches, and they ruin your game.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always really nervous about starting these types of games because I don't play shooters, and so I don't have like the hand-eye coordination. I don't know the maps, and so I just like I don't want to jump in and ruin your match, and so I always jump into practice mode and make sure I know my abilities at least.
Yeah, there's the practice mode. There's also the AI mode. I just played some AI games the other day. Because I was like, I want to. And here's what's funny: you turn the bots on hard, like they'll fuck you up.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's not.
They just aim by you. Yeah.
The only problem is that they have no strategy together. So once it's funny when they launch
all together,
when they all launch out of the door, the first like 5 minutes is fucking terrifying because they're all together doing everything very well. But if you could ever catch out their healers or kill their tank and then they start trickling towards you, they just run at you one at a time. Yeah. So it's really easy to close out the game, but to start the game. It's not a cakewalk.
So I've started playing chess online, just against the computer. But it's just because I have time, I can play chess against a computer and watch a YouTube video on chess theory, and like do that while I'm like editing a podcast or doing supports on models or something. Because there's so much loading time where it's like, oh, I press this button, I have 8 minutes where I have to do something, but I can't like leave. So it's like I'll just be playing chess and in between my. Doing stuff. And so it's funny the same way you beat the computer. Like if you're playing against like the computer on like hardest difficulty, it's like it's actually trying to win. The way you defeat them is you just don't do anything. You just play 100% defense, and it doesn't know how to attack you because there is no winning offense, right? And even if it simulates out 100 moves, it's never successful because all you're doing is playing defense because you're not risking anything. You're just overlapping all your pieces. Everything is covered 3 different ways, and then you just build a bunker. But you also have no way to win. And so the computer, its goal is to win, so it starts trying shit that doesn't work because there is no other. It is the best legal move, even though it's not a good move. And so it will start doing dumb shit like that, and that's the way you can beat some like really strong AIs. And so if people are cheating in chess by like looking up the best move, you do that, it tells you the best move is to keep turtling, and so you just time them out because they have to go back and forth between the app and the program, and then they're like, okay, well, it says I told it what they did, now it told me to do this, and so they're just playing slower than you are, and you just time them out.
I was watching something on chess the other day, and they were saying that it's and maybe this was being facetious because it's on the internet and therefore giant grain of salt.
No, it's factual.
But the posit was that AI has now gotten sophisticated and enough, and because of the way chess is such a closed system, and it can analyze so many moves, and store them so much, is that one of the only ways to like AI can solve the concept of chess, right? To a certain degree, every single human who plays chess is doing it not because they can beat AI, but because they just want to play chess, right? Is the idea.
Well, I mean, I guess, but like you would never play against an AI in chess unless you wanted to. So yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. It's like you would also not race a car. So like
you're not wrong, right? Like you could build a machine that can go faster than any person, so don't race that machine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's the point? If the point is to compete, then you're not competing against robots, so it doesn't matter.
But that the concept of that doesn't it feel different? like
No, because
losing
the only reason you were
shit.
ever playing chess in the original place was if you enjoyed playing chess. Like there was no advantage to playing chess if you didn't like it. So
True, but it does feel somehow different to know that a machine can clearly beat you in so many things: a contest of strength, a contest of speed, but for some reason, a contest of, I guess, an intellectual pursuit, right? An intellectual challenge feels like something the human should win every time, and the fact that it doesn't win this, it does feel somehow more deflating.
Well, it just shows you that like the thing humans are actually best at is inventing. Because they invented something that can beat themselves at anything.
Yeah, well, like non-linear problem solving, right? Like, like we built.
So there's after each player's taken one move in chess, there's 400 possible board combinations. And then after that, there's it's like a factorial exponential increase because now you've developed more possible moves, and so there's almost an infinite number of possible combinations, like truly almost infinite. And there is infinite if you take into account the concept that you'd just be trying to create a unique situation by doing repetitive dumb moves. And so there is effectively an infinite number. But there's a, I can't remember what it's called. It's like Table Book or something. They've used a computer to simulate every possible board state with a limited number of pieces. Every possible board state, every possible combination of moves to infinity, and it's 140 terabytes of data they've collected on just 7 pieces. So if there's a total of 7 pieces or less on the board, they have mathed out every possible combination of pieces in every possible board situation in every possible like timing, and so they've solved it. This is the best move in this situation. And so there's just that book of moves is 140 terabytes of information.
It's crazy.
And so if you ever get to a point where it's like, all right, we're down to 7 pieces in total on the board, you just look up what you're supposed to do online. There's the best move. And because the guy I was watching the video on gave an example. He's like, so it's like, this is blah, blah, blah. There's the 7 pieces on the board. He's like, in this situation, like the world champion Magnus Carlsen did this move. But the book said do this one, which you would never know because there's an infinite number of those possible moves.
Right.
And so it's like you would never know. So he does this, which is a really good move. But the computer immediately said that's not the correct move. He should have moved his king here because it's checkmate in 52 moves. And you're like, yeah, okay, obviously. And it's after multiple traded pieces and multiple checks and revealed checks, and it's like if you both play perfectly, it's mate in 52 moves. And you're like, obviously nobody would fucking know that.
Right.
And so I just thought that was amazing. That way they've gotten that far into solving chess.
It's one of those.
Even the best computers can't do better than that. That's the best they've got.
Right. It's also one of those things that, like, if you build a system, people will game it.
Yeah.
Like my wife and
I. There's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
My wife and I were talking about, like, she's a pharmacist, and she's constantly, in her job, she's battling the healthcare system. And she said she's joining the fight. And she said one of the things about it is she says all the time is like if the system every time they try to build a system that works, because it's a system, people try to manipulate it for either better personal health, better profit, or both. And she said it's the only. She said it's funny. It's like the only thing you can count on, right? You can't build a system.
People who abuse it, yeah.
Right. You can't build a healthcare system. To her mind, you can't build one that just heals people according to the Hippocratic Oath, right? The only thing you can build is something that either you can take advantage of to get more health than someone else, or you can take advantage of to get more money than somebody else. And those are the two outcomes of building a healthcare system. And that's not to say that you give up, right? Because that's not her job. Her job is the opposite. Her job is to constantly try to work to make it better. But she says that's the thing she's fighting all the time. This knowledge that no matter what system they build, human beings will game it, right? Human beings will naturally, very quickly seek out the way to make it work for them.
Yeah.
This is actually topical. So you've heard of the weight loss drugs that are not weight loss drugs,
the
like
Ozempic and all that. Yeah.
So they're not weight loss drugs. They're actually diabetic medications that do have an indication for weight loss, which is really good for people with type 2 diabetes also, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're coming out with other inhibitors that work on the same operon and feedback loop as your body, and are for weight loss and not just diabetes. But people who are impatient or don't have the actual physical condition that could be obesity, right? Specifically, the celebrities are the ones that are taking advantage of this a lot. Is they're getting diagnoses for diabetes
so that they can get the drug.
So that they can get the drug because the way it works is insurance will not pay for it unless you've ever had another diabetic medication, for example. So the original thing was, we'll make a system so that you can't just get the most expensive drug, Ozempic, first. You'll have to try some other treatment first. And so people are like, okay, I'll just try this $5 medication for 2 months, right? Or whatever it is. And then I'll have it on record that I tried another medication and then just get the Ozempic. And so she's like, that's an example of like every time they try to do things.
Well, there's Facebook ads for Ozempic right now. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you talk to an actual health professional. It's like, well, first off, like, yes, you will lose weight. Second of all, there's other major repercussions of taking it. There's all kinds of like, digestive tract issues it will cause and all kinds of things like bad sleeping, all this other stuff. And the most important part, as soon as you stop taking it, you'll gain all the weight back.
Yeah,
it's just like that's all. You're just pressing the button to relieve the symptom without fixing the underlying cause. That's a problem. And also, more importantly, the thing that nobody realizes that is obvious if you actually go talk to a healthcare professional is that your body will eventually become resistant to it, especially if you take it in the quantities you need to lose a lot of weight. Your body will just plateau, and you'll start gaining the weight back while you're still taking it. And if you stop taking it, you'll gain it back incredibly fast. And it's just like, it works if you're like a movie star and you need to lose weight in a short period of time. And then it's okay because you have a dietitian and a fucking personal trainer and all that shit to keep you thin once you're off of it.
Yeah. My wife cannot stand that the drug exists for that reason, right? That people are so wrapped up in the idea that they can just do it without consequences. Because she said, however, I asked her, while she was talking about this and kind of venting, I was like, I want you to know, I hear you, Sarah. I hear that this is wrapped up in, profiteering and
there's people online that are just buying tons of this stuff and selling it online to idiots.
To say nothing of the fact of the drug company itself, of course, wanting to make every dollar, and overcharging like crazy. Like, there's so many different like layers of profiteering and greed, and also just like self-centeredness about it. I said, however, there is a part of me, like a real part of me, that's genuinely proud of like the medical scientific community, because
for
obesity and diabetes related to obesity is such an incredible problem. And the weight loss pill has existed ever since, since the beginning of snake oil, right? It's never been a thing ever. And the fact that we can actually point to something now, a whole category of drugs, and say these can all actually treat this extremely difficult condition to treat.
Well,
part of me just goes, wow, that's kind of just amazing. How exciting is that?
Another way to look at it as an actual productive use is there's like the lap band surgery you can get for the weight loss. But the problem for that is like the surgery is really dangerous unless you lose some weight first, because they need like the swelling in your kidneys and livers to go down to make the surgery a lot easier, or else it's very difficult surgery. So they usually tell you have to lose 50 pounds before they'll even consider giving you the treatment. And so this could be a way for those people, because most of them are probably diabetic anyway, or at least borderline diabetic. That's a way for them to get that initial weight loss down, to get an actual long-term preventative cure in that they can then maintain from then on.
Yeah.
And so that could be a very useful, I'm sure they're using it for that, but it potentially has, that, even if you're looking at it as like, there's the idiots that buy it on Facebook. Like, you go take the 5-minute quiz online where some shyster doctor signs whatever, and then they mail it to you for $100 an injection. And it's like, you could go get that stuff and be an idiot and waste money and time, or you could like be useful with it.
Yeah. I am so, it's so bizarre how simultaneously ashamed and proud I am about like the medical scientific community.
Humans.
It's
so funny how it's like weird. So you're willing to invest time, effort, and money into losing weight. And you thought the best way to use those resources was buying Ozempic on Facebook. It's like, bro, just put in a little bit of effort. Like, come on. But literally just take that money, hire a personal trainer. Just start meal prepping with that much money. Like, come on.
At the same time, like, there's somebody in my life that I know who suffered hip dysplasia, and she really struggles to exercise. And she also really struggles to diet, not because diet's impossible for her. It's just very difficult, and
there's always going to be exceptions that obviously have very real issues with this stuff, and obviously we're not.
And the doctor said, because you don't have diabetes, we're not going to put you on the diabetes variation, right? You're going to go on the one that just controls weight because it will help you with your hip dysplasia, right? You'll be able to walk on your legs and maybe not lose the ability to have your legs. She's a younger person, and so I go, and she didn't do this to herself. She's not massively obese. She's just overweight enough that it's causing her problems, and I point at that and I go, that's fucking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. I also asked Sarah, I was like, surely there's been another medication that, was indicated for one thing and they realized it was good for something else. And she immediately went, Viagra. Like, Viagra was for this very specific pulmonary condition. That's what it was originally made for.
Small side effect.
And the small side effect was, hardwood. And she said, and I was like, wow. I was like, she said, people don't even know that it was ever for a pulmonary condition. They just know it as the dick drug, And and I said, well, surely that's creates some sort of preparation for the medical community to be able to deal with this. She says, not as much as Ozempic. And the reason why Ozempic has been this huge giant wave and splash, and they're still reeling from it, and they can't seem to stop reeling from it, is because this very small pulmonary condition is not diabetes, right? So it's the original indication is such a different set.
Well, also, I mean, just as a flat line, that drug only markets to 50% of the population.
Maximum,
that's one,
right?
Absolute maximum 50%. Then also, people from the ages of roughly 30 to 60 is that's kind of 10% of the population here. Because, obviously kids under 20 are not taking it. And then people over 70 or 80 probably aren't taking it. Some of them probably are now, but not when it first came out. Yeah, and then it's even men, until very recently, most men wouldn't go get a medication prescription for it. Because they didn't want to go into a doctor and tell them they had this problem. And so
it's just the number of...
Versus anyone who's overweight, which is starting at 12 now.
Right. The appeal is wild, is very, very different. But
there
is also, a precedent for it.
There's celebrities and stuff that have had access to this for a while now because this has already been out for a while. And then, obviously all of the shyster or snake oil salesmen are just pumping the ads out left and right to try and get it. And so they're driving the industry crazy. And there hasn't been time for it to have the fallout yet where people realize it's not the miracle they think it is. And it is a useful tool, but
yeah.
And like you said, they're even misusing it. They're using the diabetic version instead of the one that's more geared towards simply weight loss. And so they're putting all the other shit in their body too.
Yeah, it's hard to know, because a lot of times it's reported as Ozempic because that's what people would recognize it as. It could be the more specialized variation. But anyway, we got down a rabbit hole here. But the long story short is I'm proud and ashamed of humanity, and in that order right now. I think I'm more proud than ashamed at the moment, but maybe I'll change my mind someday. Okay, I have one question for you. This is actually MCP related. And I know we're going to have an MCP cast, and I'll talk more about specifically how I came to this conclusion. But I do want to play games tomorrow. I want to bring some MCP models.
No,
we're not playing MCP models tomorrow.
We are. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Help me decide which new models I want to play. I'll tell you the new models, and there's two options.
Okay.
The first one is Goemon. I want to play Goemon, or I want to play Red Skull 2. Oh, sorry, Red Skull 3. Sorry.
Okay. Those are very different models.
They're very different models. The setup very different things.
You're just going to play one?
I'm going to play one, and I'm going to build a list basically to play them. Is the idea.
Okay. Well, Red Skull 3 is easy to build a list for.
Yeah.
Gwenom, I don't know if she's good.
This is the reason why I want to play her, is I think she might be good. I've never, ever seen her on a board. And I don't think there's any reason why
They did stop the, triple move, triple attack build I had, because they banned all the tactics cards you needed. Because you could play Face Me and trigger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Gwenom's a fine skirmisher, if you just want to build a list that needs a skirmisher. I don't know how you go about that. I'm sure she slots into Fighty Webs just fine, or many other options. It'd obviously be easier to build a Red Skull 3 list. I'm playing Red Skull 3 tomorrow, if that affects your decision.
Okay, that might. That was another thing, is I knew you were enjoying Red Skull 3 right now.
Yeah.
So
honestly, Red Skull 1 has been the better leader in the games I've played.
Oh, really?
So, which I know sounds just pants on head, but it's true. I did not assume that would be the case, but tell you what, you give Apex a little sprinkle of power, and he goes a long way.
Yeah. There's so many models in the Foundation of the power. Also, Cosmic Invigoration is a real thing,
Yeah, being able to just guarantee turn 1 Cosmic Invigorate Mephisto, like there's nothing your opponent can do about it. You're just like, I don't like that.
I wanted, I haven't decided where I'm going to put Gwenom. There's a couple different places where I think she could belong, but it's not going to be Web Warriors. It'll be something else.
I have not pulled off the triple activate Mephisto yet, but it got close.
Oh, really?
It got very close in one of my games.
If you were going to break the tie for Gwenom, do you think it would be to abuse her attack back power, and that would be where to go? Or do you think it should be to get the most out of her movement in something like Midnight Suns, which is, I
don't think the movement is that valuable.
Yeah, I don't think
I think utilizing your attack back is probably how I'd go. You could build a Defenders list, you could build a Thralls of Dracula list that could be really interesting. Mm-hmm. Doesn't she bleed?
Don't
Gwenom. No, she does not bleed. Her reaction is, if you attack someone within 3 of her, she gets to attack the target. Yeah, I could see you playing her with Mephisto. I don't even know if you have Mephisto, but
he's not painted now.
Yeah. But the cool thing is you could use Mephisto to shunt attacks to somebody within range of Gwenom, which would be cool.
That's cute.
You could also use him to move Gwenom around, which is cool.
There were 2 unusual places that I wanted to try her in. I think the obvious one is Avengers with Steve. That makes sense, right? Just like sit her next to Steve. Insert.
Oh, just for the bodyguarding?
Yeah, bodyguarding plus pick on someone your own size is cheaper, right? So
sure,
like
that's true.
I think that's just like a really simple combo.
I mean, it's only a 2-cost attack back, and she's hitting you with the builder. She should usually get that back.
Exactly. So I think the unusual. I have one unusual place, which is actually, bear with me, Hydra Red Skull 2.
Why Red Skull 2?
So, in a very bizarre situation, I realized that you can play 3 attack back characters with Red Skull 2, so that it is so dangerous to ever attack Red Skull 2 because you'll get attacked so much. I think you could play
because of the I've got the leadership card, whatever it's called.
So it's
Soldat.
Yes, Soldat activated plus Gwenom plus. If you wanted to go, I don't think you need to. I think
original Bucky.
That's the original Bucky. Yeah, so it's original Bucky, Gwenom, Red Skull 2, probably Zemo, and like Bob brings a great choice. And the whole idea is you can't.
I do not like this.
What?
I do not like this.
You do not like this? You think it's bad? I think it works.
I mean, you're too far in on the gimmick, and you're just going to lose the game.
Okay.
You might kill some of their models, but at one point, I was like, why do they attack you? They don't have to. Like, if you're playing against a competitive list, you're going to lose on scenario. It's just not going to work.
Well, that's the point. Is that I wanted to play Gwenom, and it's a funny gimmick. It's not.
Sure.
I don't think Gwenom is a highly.
Gwenom if you like.
I don't think Gwenom is a highly competitive model.
So yeah, I guess if you're in the concept, you're just going to put a combination of models down that includes Gwenom with a fun mechanic. Sure, that's fine.
Yeah,
but I mean, I almost refuse to unless I can do it. I can tell myself this is not a competitive list. But it's like, what's the point then? Like, I mean, if we're just going to play funsies lists, it doesn't matter what you put in. Just play whatever you want. But if you're talking about like, let's put thought into the list, then I would naturally think that means it needs to be competitive.
So Red Skull, the reason why I think it's not non-competitive is Red Skull 2 has a giant target on his face, right? People really want to attack him. But you're right. If they just turn and attack Gwenom, then it's less useful, right? Or rather, but then they have to just sit there and take Red Skull attacks. I don't know what list easily just sits there and takes Red Skull attacks.
What about putting her with Ghost Rider? so that if they attack Ghost Rider, she hits them, and if they attack Gwen, he crits them.
Yeah.
So you have like a damned if you, damned if you don't kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And then you throw in a bodyguarder in there, so you play like Midnight Suns with Luke. No, I guess Luke's not affiliated. He's just always in Midnight Suns. Who's a good... Where's Ghost Rider with a bodyguard? Where does that go?
Defenders?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Defenders.
Also, Defenders actually makes a lot of sense.
And then you also get you get Daredevil, so you get to attack back as well.
Yeah, the Defenders is actually the best attack back list, and she just works well in that. Just another layer of bullshit.
Yeah. And you do Ghost Rider and... So let's see, we're probably over on points already, because you're at Daredevil, Ghost Rider's 9. Throwing in Gwen is 13. And then...
It's probably Defenders is the actual
So you
answer.
can throw in, like, Castle, if you're taking Wong. And then you've got the Vengeance tokens from Punisher. You don't have enough squishy guys, though, so it wouldn't be that relevant.
You could also do Defenders, the Cover Me card now. So
it's true.
Now you've got a lot of overlapping effects, and you've got rerolls during their turn. So when Gwen does attack, if they're close to her, she just hits them extra hard. Like it actually does. It does work really well because it says... Yeah. So if you attack somebody, if you attack the defender that plays Cover Me, then they have to. Then Gwynnum can attack them, and somebody else can attack them, or Gwynnum can attack them twice. It's
the
really
Cover
easy.
Me card is any attack, right?
Say again.
Is the Cover Me card any attack, or is it 0 cost?
After attack target's character, another ally character will make an attack. Yeah. So they can. So Gwynnum can do her spender for heals.
Sure. I was thinking you do Punisher, because Punisher can stack up power really well, and then you just do aimed pierce shot at everybody that can stun and slow. And he's like, oh, you attack me? Range 5, 7 dice, pierce. And you're like, ow. Yeah. And it's like, cool. And it's like, all right, cool. I shoot you again. And you're like, please stop doing that. And then you're like, cool, now I'll spec off sword and then just quad tap and go back to like 5 power. And you're like, all right, good. I'll fucking shoot you again.
Yeah. I have... Yeah, the answer is probably... So the first gimmicky one was Hydra. The second gimmicky one was Defenders.
Yeah, and you can build a whole other package in there that works too, like throw an Immortal Hulk, and all of a sudden they've got a big monster they have to deal with. Yeah, I like that. That's got legs.
Gwynnum is a little different than the Ronin Sabretooth. She just is different than the Sabretooth version, because Sabretooth, they can't attack Sabretooth, right?
One requirement. You have to put Valkyrie in.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, she's good. Do it.
Okay.
I tell you, Valkyrie is good. People don't understand.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. I think she's really good with Daredevil, actually, and she's a defender. Do you think, this is the question, do you think that Gwynnum is better than Sabretooth in that list? Because he's very much exactly like the same slot for that list. It's almost the same list. I feel like...
Yeah, I think Gwynnum's comparable to Sabretooth.
Yeah, I feel like in
he's
some ways...
better, but they're comparable.
I feel like
the big thing is that she's mobile and he's not. Like, if Sabretooth moves, you feel bad. If Gwynnum moves, that's not the end of the world.
Right. Gwynnum can move twice and attack. Like, Gwynnum actually gets...
Right, because she can yo-yo and he can't. Right? Because she, like, walks, attacks, walks again.
Yeah.
And so she's move long, attack, move long. And she's a range 3 attack instead of range 2 attack. Mm-hmm. She could be a real problem. And then she also has the throw. Sabretooth doesn't have the throw. She can be way more proactive while not starting in melee with somebody. And she's tougher. Like, healing factor 1 versus spider senses is not as good. And he's 3-3-3, she's 4-2-3.
Also, she heals for maximum Gwynnum too. So
correct. Yeah, she can heal. She just doesn't have healing factor.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I think she's definitely a comparable model. Mm-hmm. The downside, obviously, is not having aggressive and being targetable herself, because you shoot her, right? You just don't shoot somebody else. Problem is, she's really defensive against physical. She's mildly defensive against energy.
Yeah.
But she's still statistically better than 3 energy defense, but...
Yeah. I feel like it's...
Oh, also, being size 2 is relevant, because it's less damage when you get thrown into your own people, and she gets cover so much easier.
Yeah.
And Wall Crawler means that she doesn't need to be size 3 ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do. I think this could be... It might just be an upgrade, or at least a different direction. Also, I think one of the things, as soon as Cover Me came out, I was more excited to play things like Luke Cage, because Luke Cage Cover Me just feels amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that became worse with Sabretooth, because Sabretooth just didn't get attacked ever on purpose. But with her, she would prefer that setup, right?
Yeah. The trick with Sabretooth is turn 1, you just double move to whichever point they have is least defended and stand on top of their person and dare them to stand there with you because you're just going to kill them. And so he's like, you have to leave or I'm going to kill you. So they leave and they're like, cool, I got free points. And then you chase them again if you want. And you just keep moving your people around and it's basically just this huge deterrent. If they ever don't activate that model first, then you just eat them or if you get prio.
I also do really like, it's funny, Sabretooth likes to go and pick up the extract to make it so that you need to kill him, right? And then if you don't,
I don't think you do. I think because he dives so often, you're not supposed to.
Right, that's the problem, right? You feel like you want to, but it actually is anti-synergistic.
You also get to 4 power sooner, which is when he really becomes a monster.
Right.
Because you're like, oh, I hit him for 1. He still can't attack me back because he only took 1 damage. Like, that sucks. And so...
But Gwynnum, I think, doesn't want the extract. And then when she goes and dives or yo-yos or whatever she wants to do, she's more flexible. You can decide what she wants to do.
Yeah, the big problem with her is that she has to keep enough power to attack back. And like Sabretooth doesn't because he just gets hit and gets power.
Oh, I just realized also, if she is dug in and if she gets to double tap and she's within 2, she'll get to reroll on the first one and then full reroll on the second. Like, she gets a lot of rerolls in one turn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of consistent damage. Yeah, we're going to try our defenders.
No, yeah, if she double taps you, she's doing 5 dice. She doesn't have symbiotic instincts, so it's 5 dice into 5 dice any rerolls, and then you followed up with a size 3 throw, which is pretty cool. Or she just throws people. Like, that's a lot of damage. You're like, oh, you have a Crimson Dino? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You just slam them into something.
She throws a medium.
Yeah, she has exactly Venom's throw.
Yeah.
It's very good. And she could, like, you just get 3 power and it's like, cool, I'll move long, attack you, throw you, move long back.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she has action economy. She's just, she never has an activation that feels bad, which is great. Even if she just double moves throws, that's fine.
So you really, like you said, you really feel like you need to attack her. But you windmill slam Luke and then feel good about that.
Right. It's more about deterring her from just piling on.
Right.
And so...
But if
you can sack to Luke, that's great. Or you can just put Ghost Rider next to her and just do the crits back and, just try and survive. But yeah, I think you have her play Cover Me or whatever the card is where you get to attack back. You're just like, cool, every time you attack her, like fucking you're getting shot in the face.
She cannot play it because she is not.
Oh, because it has to be a defender. Okay.
No. Cover Me is still good on cards like Luke because
still good.
Yeah. But you're going to probably pay Cover Me on a key character that you don't want to die. And Gwynnum is, and so people have to attack other characters.
Yeah.
Cover Me is fucking amazing on Luke Cage, though.
Yeah, I think they're just you're going to have to skirmish with her because, actually, I don't know how that's going to work. I think they're just going to dogpile her. I don't know if Luke will be able to stop that. You might actually need a bodyguard versus a taunt. Because, they'll just walk out of range of Luke and shoot her, right? Like, what stops that? You having, like, I don't know, like Punisher with Cover Me Up would help, but you, like we just talked about, you can't play it on her.
Yeah, and that way Sabretooth is better, right? Because nobody wants to attack Sabretooth.
Sure. So defenders are no bodyguards.
No.
So there's no bodyguard in faction.
There's only a couple bodyguards in the game now, right? It's just... Oh,
wait, this is not showing me all the models. There's 30 defenders? That's not right. Okay, hold on. Just Luke Cage.
There are a lot of defenders.
Namor actually would be interesting. Just another big guy to bully with.
Definitely someone you feel like you can attack. You want to attack, right?
Yeah. And it's just another diver, right? Like she can go in, soften somebody up, get out, and then Namor can go in and kill them and then get out. So you have 2 people that can move long, attack, and move long again. And so you can just start firing missiles into their team and force them to engage you. That'd be an interesting list, actually. Yo-yoing long speed people. So like slam into you 5 dice, throw something, get out, boom, and then reverse the other way, and then Namor comes and hits you again. You're just taking 2 big attacks every turn. And there's probably dazing a guy from range 4 or 5. And then, you just play like Ghost Rider on your side as a defensive model or Luke Cage. Somebody that can take hits for you. It's like they can't really re-engage back on you without long range attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not giving things up. You're just hitting them. That would be interesting. And if you kill them, you just hang out, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're losing prio. Anyway, Hawkeye'd be interesting. You get a Long Ranger. I know everybody hates Hawkeye, but I think he's underrated.
I actually think Hawkeye has to...
He is made of glass.
Hawkeye has to fight with the Punisher, but I think he can win the fight sometimes.
But mainly, just being able to shoot while out of line of sight is so huge. You just put him on... You just find an advantageous piece of terrain, and he just sits there forever.
Moon Knight is also a contender there for that 3 slot. Yeah. Just stand there and shoot.
The choosing damage type is getting more and more relevant. There's a lot of energy 2 people out there. And then obviously just piling up stat effects on people. Anyway, yeah, I think there's stuff there. You have to tinker with it, obviously.
Yeah, I think I'm going to... also, your idea about Namor is good because I have his model and I never put it down. So I'm going to try... I'll play 2 models that I haven't played yet.
2 models.
Models count as 2?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else who can do the thing. Moon Knight can just shoot at range 4. Punisher and Hawkeye can just shoot at range 5. Or, Punisher in a pinch can walk forward, double tap, and slide backwards.
Mm-hmm.
ASM can get in, hit, and swing it, and then walk out. So ASM, Namor, Gwenom would be interesting.
Why are you saying Namor goes in and leaves, though? Where is that?
Because you can just charge and walk backwards.
Oh, that's right. He charges. Duh.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Strange could walk up, shoot, and port back. Ghost Rider could move up, attack, and drive back. There's actually a lot of people in Defenders that can get in and get out, only getting a single attack, but they can get in and get out.
Mm-hmm.
It'd just be an interesting dynamic of a list. If you're just going to play like a scenario grindy list that also just slowly kills your team while out of like what does like Wolverine do if you're just like obviously he has healing factors. Like, all right, cool. I shoot Wolverine, he takes like 3 damage, but he's like over there all by himself. It's like, do you walk charge and then die? Like you might kill somebody, but you're gonna die. And then, or it's like, oh, you've got Miles over there. Cool. It's like, I move up, I hit him, I back up. It's like, are you going to walk forward, swing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like, I'm moving long, you're moving medium, you're not getting me.
Are you picturing things like bees?
Like bees. Yeah, bees would be great. I mean, F, like you play scoundrels. Like, I'm over here on cover. What are you doing? I move to your cover, hit you, and back up. Like, that's not great.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if you get extractors, Namor can collect the points for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that guy's got a thing. I'm gonna go steal his fucking shit and get out. Anyway, those are just thoughts. Do you have anything else for tonight?
No, that was my main thing. As I just wanted to figure out what I was gonna play with tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'm sure. What? You do have something else.
I had a comic that I read, but I could hold on to the comic corner if we need comic corner some other time.
Yeah, let's save it. We got more. I thought we were only go for an hour today, and we rambled on for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just make sure you write it down.
Oh, it is. Man, cool. It is so good. I'm excited to talk about it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in for our Christmas episode, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the totally casual ramblings of me and Parker.
Yay!
This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And you just listened to The Gang Talks About Anime.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.